Good afternoon. My name is Dr. Graham Simpson, and I have been a practicing physician now for nearly 50 years. What I'd like to do is to talk about reinventing healthcare. We have a huge crisis here. As you can see, 93% of the population of the USA has insulin, some type of metabolic dysfunction. 62% have diabetes or pre-diabetes. And this is leading to 80% of the deaths in America and elsewhere in the world. China, as you know, is the country with the highest number of diabetics. In the year 2000, less than 5% of their population were affected by diabetes. It is now over 15%, and China is actually the country with the most diabetics in the world. The US is number 4. India and Pakistan are 2 and 3. And obviously countries like the Middle East, Mexico, and many other countries are in the same dilemma. Essentially, all this chronic disease is coming from metabolic abnormalities related to our diet. Remember, genes load the gun, but the lifestyle and the environment pull the trigger. I've been fortunate to have practiced on 5 different continents. And at the outset, what I'd like to do is, as Buckmaster Fuller said over there, you never change things by fighting the existing reality. To change something, build a new model that makes the existing model obsolete. And that is what we're trying to do at Eternity Medicine, and help democratize healthcare. I want to, before getting into the presentation of how you reverse diabesity, I wanted to talk about the 3 eras of medicine. Because over the years, we can see that Era 1 medicine actually began after the Civil War in 1865. Louis Pasteur had earlier in the 1860s first made the connection between germs and disease. And this theory really set up how traditional medicine has been practiced. Unfortunately, this led to all these silos of 40 different specialties and not much connection between the two. You can see from this chart that all the chronic diseases that doctors see around the world, heart disease, neurocognitive disease, all these diseases, erectile dysfunction, cancer, heart attacks, autoimmune disease, are all related to the underlying problem of metabolic disease. Era 2 medicine is really being brought to the fore by Carlos Lopez Oten. He published 9 hallmarks of aging in 2013 in the journal Cell. And then last year, in 2023, he added 3 more. So these 12 hallmarks of aging are really used by most researchers and physicians around the world. I'm sure there'll be a couple more added, but for the moment, we'll talk about these 12. If you lower your biological age by just 7 years, you actually lower your risk of all chronic disease by more than 50%. The key to Era 1 medicine, and what we're going to talk about mostly today, is how do you reverse insulin resistance that now is affecting most people in most countries around the world. Era 2 medicine, the whole longevity, really, it's huge industry that's growing and is going to be the future of healthcare. Mitochondria are at the heart of Era 2 medicine, and we'll be talking about mitochondria and also the important connection between the mitochondria and the microbiome. These 4 hallmarks you'll see on the bottom here, we have divided those 4 hallmarks somewhat differently to Carlos Lopez Otten, because our description of the 4 primary hallmarks are clinically based. Obviously, Carlos Lopez Otten, he's a molecular scientist, researcher, who works at a university in Spain. He is at the bench, not so much the bedside like many of us. So we see nutrient sensing. Food is information. What you put into your mouth influences everything. It determines your microbiome. The microbiome, as we'll see, are intimately related to the mitochondria. Mitochondria are making 88 pounds of energy in each of us every day, and they are the major signaling molecules in the body, particularly signaling to the immune system, which is responsible for the inflammation. All chronic disease has inflammation as a critical component. So era 1 is about reversing insulin resistance. That's the biological medicine. Era 2 is longevity medicine, which is very much related to the mitochondria. Era 3 medicine, which I believe is going to be the future of medicine, a friend of mine who also independently came up with the concepts of the 3 eras of medicine, Dr. Larry Dosey, he defined eternity medicine as about our awareness of the non-local nature of our mind, that it is infinite, indestructible, and immortal. This is not different from the concept of Tao in the Chinese tradition. Obviously, the Chinese culture has healthcare going back a couple of thousand years, not just a couple of hundred years. But this really encapsulates, in a way, the Tao or Tao, which is really about the underlying nature of everything and consciousness. Mitochondrial psychobiology is also a very important concept, because you'll see with Era 3 medicine, many of the more subtle energies and healing practices, for instance, some of traditional Chinese medicine, acupuncture, qigong, etc., together with what is happening now, mitochondria turn out to actually be, in some sense, what is evolving humans' consciousness over the last 2 million years, particularly the last 5 million years. So the key to Era 3 medicine is heart-brain coherence, well described by the Heart Math Institute. Since Dr. Childra sort of mentioned this and put the key foundation of the Heart Math Institute. But many people use meditative type of practices, which can be very, very helpful in today's fast-paced world. So I am going to move on to what I consider the principles that the new medicine will be based on. And I'm going to discuss this in the next slide.